On August 15, 1947, we attained independence. Alongside, the great ancient land of Bharat was partitioned on communal lines. On the one hand, when the Congress leadership and the Muslim leadership were preparing themselves for independence and taking over the rulership, British colonialists led by Lord Mountbatten were trying to execute the India's Independence Act hurriedly. Many parts of Akhand Bharat were witnessing riots, mayhems, murders and inhuman crimes against women. Gandhiji was taking tours in eastern parts of Bharat. The second Sarsang Chalak of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, Shri Golwalkar Gurji, was travelling in the western part, which constitute Pakistan now. RSS was running many refugee camps. Muslim League leaders were busy not just preparing for Pakistan, but also instigating communal frenzy mobs on the ground. A book by researcher and author Shri Prashant tried to put together developments of this fortnight of August 1947 in his book, which is one of the best sellers, called Wo 15 Din, which is translated as Those 15 Days. This year, Organiser is taking you through the developments of those 15 days, going through the most happening 15 days towards Bharat's independence alongside the communal partition will provide new insights to the viewers and inspire them to take up research on various aspects of conversations, communications and negotiations, as well as the kind of communal frenzy things happening on the ground about India's independence and the great partition of this land. Those 15 days. August 13th, 1947. Mumbai. Juhu Airport. A group of 8 to 10 women were gathered near the Tara Air Services counter. All of them were disciplined and oozing confidence on their faces. They were Sevikas of the Rashtra Sevika Samiti. Their chief, or what they call as Pramukh Sanchalika, Lakshmibai Ketkar, popularly known as Mausiji, she was going to Karachi. A Sevika from Sindh province, Hyderabad, sent her a letter amidst the atmosphere of anarchy and chaos. Jethi Devani was the name of that Sevika. The Devani family was an ordinary family of Sindh, having strong links with the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. Mausiji could not prevent herself from going on receiving Jethi Devani's letter. She vowed to go to Sindh to help the Sevikas. Only 11 years had passed since the Rashtra Sevika Samiti had started functioning. But its work was expanding and had reached even the frontier states like Sindh, Punjab and Bengal. Quaid-e-Azam Jinnah was to be sworn in the next day. There was bound to be celebration of independence, yet it was necessary to go there. Therefore, Mausiji was on her way to Karachi with her associate Venutai Kalankar. Lakshmibai Ketkar and Venutai were the only two women wearing 9-yard saris in that small airplane meant for 40 to 50 passengers. Neither were there many Hindus. Jayaprakash Narayan, who had kept the socialist ideology alive in the Congress, was also on the plane. There was also a householder named Dev from Pune. Mausiji recognized him. However, both of them got down at Ahmedabad. The majority of passengers on board were Muslims, and there were only these two women among those passengers. Some enthusiastic passengers in the plane were chanting slogans like Pakistan Jindabad. A couple of them also shouted, "Ladke liya hai Pakistan, has ke lenge Hindustan." However, Mausiji was full of confidence. Her decision was unchanged and her face was resolute. And seeing all this, slogans for Pakistan abated gradually. Multan-Lahore railway section of Northwestern State Railway. Riazabad station before Lahore. It was about 11 o'clock. About 100 to 125 Muslims stood on the station waving swords and knives in their hands. The train to Amritsar and later on to Ambala was slowly entering the station. There was no one else other than these Muslim demonstrators at the station. The station master had closed his room and was hiding inside. His assistant was trying to report this incident to the headquarters through his Morse code, but his hands were trembling. Hence, the telegraphic message being relayed in the language of dashes and dots was going wrong. There was an unusual calm until the train arrived on the platform. A dreadful calm prevailed. The train slowly plugged in, giving a loud whistle, and within a fraction of a second, shrill cries of Din Din, Allahu Akbar filled the air. Sounds of Maro Kato Saloko, kill and hack the scoundrels, resonated in the air. And Hindus and Sikhs, having arrived on the train as refugees from Multan and villages of West Punjab, after losing everything, were pulled out of those bogies. Their heads were severed instantly with sharp swords. The frightened station master watched all the proceedings through the window of his office. Unknowingly, he started counting. 21 Sikhs and Hindus had been killed in this onslaught. These goons were abducting their weeping wives and daughters like trophies in victory. Who knew how many more Hindus and Sikhs must have been killed? The station master asked his assistant to convey this information immediately through a telegram. Thus, many news and stories like these might have been dumped under the censor in Punjab. Karachi. Before Pakistan became independent, the next day, intense celebrations were held between India, Pakistan and British officials. The meeting was meant for ensuring smooth distribution of power between India's and Pakistan's administration. Issues like trade, communication, telecommunication, railways and customs, etc. were discussed at the meeting. After the discussions, it was concluded that both the countries would follow the same policy that undivided India had been following till March 1948. After March, both the countries could implement their respective policies. The post and telegraph network was to remain the same till March. Citizens of both the countries could cross over to each other's country without any restrictions. In Delhi, the British officers could now leave. It meant appointment of Indian officials in their places, which was to pose a great challenge for Nehru's government. The Chief Justice of Undivided India, Sir William Patrick Spence, was about to retire the next day. He was preparing to relinquish his post. Who could be an appropriate person in his place? Some names were cropping up. But the seal was put on an individual from Surat, Sir Harilal Jekusundas Kania. Sir Kania was a lawyer from middle-class family of Surat. He was a judge at the Bombay High Court since 1930. Sir Kania, a 57-year-old, was then an Associate Justice in the Supreme Court. Chief Justice Sir William Patrick Spence had made chairman of the India-Pakistan Arbitration Tribunal. In Paris, many Indians who had fought in the Indian National Army were detained in the British and French areas of Germany. However, now the soldiers and officers were entitled to apply for an Indian passport and thereby walk free. The Indian military mission in Paris announced that day. Dr. Harbanslal was one of these prisoners. He was a lieutenant in Netaji's Indian National Army. Dr. Lal could now return to India along with the other prisoners. 151 Belia Ghat, Calcutta, a place known as Haidari Manzil. 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Gandhiji reached Haidari Manzil in an old Chevrolet car from Sodepur Ashram. Manu, Mahadev Bhai and 2 workers accompanied him. 4 or 5 such workers had also arrived in the vehicles following him. It had rained recently. Mud had accumulated everywhere. Many people stood in front of the Haidari Manzil. They were mostly Hindus. Slogans began to be shouted in Gandhiji's name as soon as his car stopped. The slogans were not for welcoming him, they were actually abusing him. Gandhiji's face became a bit ruffled as he climbed down from the car. However, he successfully attempted to regain his composure. The slogan mongering continued unabated. Gandhiji, go away. Go now Khali and save Hindus. पहले हिंदुओं को जीवन दान, फिर मुसलमानों का स्थान. Traitor of Hindus, go away. Soon, stones and bottles were thrown along with the chanting of slogans. Gandhiji stopped, turned backwards calmly and looked at the crowd. He gestured to the crowd to calm them down while taking the shawl in his hand. And the enraged crowd relented. Gandhiji began to speak calmly. I have come here to serve the Hindus and Muslims equally. I will stay here under your protection. If you wish, you can march straight on to me. I am saving the Hindus in Naukhali by staying here at Beliaghat Road with you. Muslim leaders have promised peace to me. Now I request you, Hindus, don't even touch a hair of a Muslim brethren in Calcutta. Leaving the crowd speechless, as it were, Gandhi quietly entered the Haidari Manzil. However, this quietude lasted only for a few minutes. The pacified crowd soon became agitated at the arrival of Shahid Surawardi. Its anger found a vent. How could the Hindus remain calm when the murder of over 5,000 Hindus was passing by in front of them? The crowd surrounded the building and some of them started pelting stones at the building. This was for the first time that the Mahatma, who was venerable for undivided India, was getting ridiculed in such a cruel manner. The plane carrying Mausiji that had taken off from Zoo Airport at 11:30 am reached the Drig Road Airport after about 4.5 hours of travel at 3 pm, stopping midway at Ahmedabad. Mausiji's son-in-law, Cholkar, had reached the airport. He was the husband of Mausiji's stepdaughter, Vatsala. Even though Vatsala was a stepdaughter, she never failed that way, nor did Mausiji ever make her feel unwanted. She was fond of education and hence Mausiji had educated her by employing a teacher at home. Vatsala also helped a great deal in the work of Samiti. her help played a major role in expanding the shakhas in Karachi. About 50 to 20 sevikas had come to the airport to receive Mausiji Ketkar. Some RSS Swayamsevaks were also present in view of the dangerous situation. Mausiji's cavalcade left in the car of one of the sevikas. About the same time, when the plane carrying Rashtra Sevika Samiti's Lakshmibai Ketkar landed in Karachi, the special Dakota plane carrying undivided India's Governor General Lord Mountbatten was landing at the airbase of Royal Air Force at Mauripur in Karachi. When Lord Mountbatten and Lady Edwina emerged from the plane, top officers of the soon-to-be created Pakistan welcomed them. Jinnah was not present. The Mountbatten couple was told that Quaid-e-Azam Jinnah and his sister Fatima were waiting for them at the latter's official residence. Jinnah's official residence in Karachi was actually the bungalow of Singh's governor. The magnificent drawing hall in the spacious bungalow, built in the Victorian style, was elaborately decorated like a Hollywood movie set. And Quaid-e-Azam and Fatima welcomed the Mountbattens in this decorated hall. Lahore. At about 4 o'clock, Mujahid Tajuddin, a resident of Temple Road, a seller of naan and kulcha, a rather nondescript and pauper individual. Nevertheless, who knew what had transpired in his head since that morning? Almost all his friends were loyal workers of Muslim National Guards. All of them, and importantly even the constable at the police station, had told him to attack the big Gurudwara on Temple Road. Destroy it. This is our religious duty. Something had attacked Tajuddin's mind, for he was one who did not know anything except for naan and kulcha. He closed his shop in the afternoon and joined his friends to attack the Gurudwara. The Gurudwara, Chevin Patshahi at Muzang, Temple Road in Lahore, was very sacred for the Sikhs as it was built by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Guru Hargobind Singh had come to Diwan Chandu at Lahore in 1619. The Gurudwara was located at the place where he stayed at that time. The daily ardas, langar, etc. were in full swing as usual at the Gurudwara. Nihang sons were preparing to protect the Gurudwara with naked swords in their hand. But they were just 4 in numbers. Most of the Sikhs were in business, as this was a crucial time for business. All the Sikhs were supposed to gather at night. Only a handful of people were present inside at that moment. Exactly at 4 o'clock, Muslim National Guards pounded on the Gurudwara. Tajuddin led the attack. He was the one who had hurled the petrol bomb. 50 to 60 Muslim extremists came rushing in with naked swords. How long could those 4 Nihang sons fight them? And still, they displayed extraordinary valor. They chopped off 3 to 4 attackers and wounded 7 or 8 others. However, at last, all 4 of them fell lifeless in a pool of blood. The Gurudwara, Chevin Patshahi, built by Maharaja Ranjit Singh, was bathed in the blood of innocent Sikhs. Peshawar, capital of the Northwest Frontier Province. The 57-year-old Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan was seated looking desolate in his fortress-like house in Peshawar, steeped in melancholy and all alone. Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, an exalted and respected name, an equally impressive personality, the favorite leader of the entire Northwest Frontier Province, Gandhiji's loyal follower. That was why the title of Sarhad Gandhi or Frontier Gandhi was bestowed upon him. However, among his Pathan followers, He was famous as Badshah Khan. He had brought all the uneducated tribals in the hilly areas to support the Congress. That was why, when the Congress had come to power during the provincial elections of 1946, despite being a Muslim majority province, Muslim League did not win any seats here. Later, when it became clear that partition was to take place, the question arose before the Pathans as to where should their allegiance lie. They held a bitter enmity towards the pro-Pakistan Punjabis. Therefore, the people of this province wanted to unite with India. They enjoyed a majority even in the provincial assembly. But geographic continuity was a major issue. And then they argued that East and West Pakistan were placed thousands of miles apart. Moreover, this issue could also be resolved if Kashmir was merged with India. The southern part of Gilgit adjoining the northwest frontier province. But Nehru came in between. He insisted on, we will take plebiscite there. This issue came up in the Congress Working Committee. Sardar Patel opposed it fervently. He said, the provincial assemblies will decide where they want to go. We have done the same in other parts of the country. And this is why all those parts where Muslim League is in majority are going to Pakistan. By this logic, this part should come to India. But Nehru was adamant. He said, I'm a Democrat, so let the people of the place decide what they want. Badshah Khan learned from newspapers that it had been decided to hold a plebiscite in his province. Nehru did not even feel the need to discuss this important question with the person who had brought this difficult province to the Congress. Therefore, Khan Sahib exclaimed after hearing this news, Congress has given this province to the Muslim League on a platter. The process of plebiscite started on July 20, 1947 and continued for 10 days. Before and during the actual referendum, the Muslim League resorted to arousing religious sentiments. On seeing all this, the Congress boycotted the plebiscite. Khudai Khidmatgar's Badshah Khan was concerned about what we will have to undergo because of Nehru's adamant stand. And the plebiscite that took place was actually a farce. 6 tribal communities, among whom Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan Sahib exercised a considerable influence, were barred from voting. Only 5,72,800 people out of 35 lakhs were eligible for voting. There was no voting at all in the Swat, Dir, and Chitral talukas. Among the eligible voters, the voting was only 51%. There were green boxes for Pakistan supporters, while red boxes were kept merger with India. The vote cast in Pakistan boxes were 2,89,244, while despite the boycott, 2,874 votes were cast in India's favor. In short, only about 3 lakh votes out of 35 lakhs were cast in favor of Pakistan. And that was why Badshah Khan became furious. He was filled with a strange rage as he felt that Nehru and even Gandhiji have thrown us in front of the wolves. Hence, Khan could never understand what to reply when his supporters from Peshawar, Kohad, Banu and Swat asked about migrating to India. Karachi, official residence of Quaid-e-Azam. About 9 p.m. Jinnah had arranged a Shahi Khana, a royal dinner, to welcome Lord Mountbatten on the eve of Pakistan's independence. Some ambassadors and diplomats were also invited. Liquor was served like water. However, the host of all this, Quaid-e-Azam Jinnah, was far, far away from this, somehow detached. Before the formal banquet started, it was time for a brief speech by the host. Jinnah fixed his glass on one eye and began to read. Your Excellency, Your Highness, I have great pleasure in proposing a toast to His Majesty the King. Here I would like to say, Your Excellency, Lord Mountbatten, how much we appreciate your having carried out wholeheartedly the policy and the principle that was laid down by the plan of June 3rd. Pakistan and India will never forget you. The creation of the nation which was being built for propagating Islam and Islamic principles was celebrating by making rivers of liquor flow. All India Radio, Lahore station. It was about 11:50 p.m. There was an announcement on the radio. This is All India Radio, Lahore. Wait for our next announcement for few minutes. Instrumental music was played for the next 10 minutes. At exactly 12:01 a.m. announced the newsreader, Assalamu alaikum. Pakistan Broadcasting Services. We are broadcasting from Lahore. Kubal Subah-e-Azadi, and Pakistan was born officially. This was August 13th, 1947.